From the Weather NorCal
Your
Command
Valley
Center,
Neighborhood
this
Forecast
is your
brought to
morning
you
update.
by Walgamuth Painting.
Wiggly Mouth.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman, but with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home.
Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Thank you so much for joining me here for your Wednesday morning update. You know, highs are going to continue to be below normal all week long. We're watching for that potential for isolated showers and thunderstorms, and really over the last few days, we've seen a few pop-ups here and there. Nothing significant, especially in Siskiyou and parts of Modoc County as well. We saw that yesterday. I think we're going to see just a tad more activity today, but not much more. It's really tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. I think this is going to be the main event where we've got the best potential for some pretty strong thunderstorms and a lot of lightning as well. But that elevated risk due to that potential for dry lightning. But as we go into the extended, we do expect to see temperatures to increase again by early next week. But it doesn't look like we have any major heat waves heading our way anytime soon. Now, we'll, of course, get into that a little bit later, but first, let's take a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast for your Wednesday, July 23rd. All right, heading out the door this morning, another mild start to the day. Looks like those temperatures are going to be the mid to upper 50s for the higher elevations, although eastern mountains, low 60s. Still very pleasant, even in the valley, with temperatures in the mid 60s for your temperatures at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you look closely in the satellite image here, you see a little bit of a counterclockwise spin in those clouds. That's the area of low pressure that's beginning to develop. It's getting stronger. And looking at the HRRR forecast model, once again, like it has been over the last several days, hasn't really picked up on any showers or thunderstorms, but it is picking up on some of that convective activity. And that's why we've got to really watch for that again here for this afternoon. So temperatures, again, a little bit warmer. We're calling for upper 80s, low 90s for the valley, but still well below normal for this time of the year. Temperatures in the 80s for most of the higher elevations, and even some 90s in there. And once again, low 60s for the coast. There's your 7-day forecast. And what's this? A chance for showers even for the valley on Friday? Yeah, it's not out of the question. I'm beginning to see better and better chances for that. Nothing really set in stone, but I'd say maybe on Friday is when we can see that best chance, especially for the north end of the valley, around Red Bluff, Redding. South of that, chances may be a bit slimmer. Temperatures should stay below normal really for the next 7 days, but it is getting back up closer to normal by Monday and Tuesday of next week. For the coast, low 60s, partly to mostly cloudy skies, maybe some drizzle at times. For the inland areas, I have now included that chance for showers and thunderstorms for some of you in the inland areas. That's why I've just got that chance in there. I think for Trinity County, your best chances will be Thursday, Friday, and then the chances will start to diminish a little bit after that, warming up going into early next week. For Siskiyou, Modoc County, the eastern mountains, look at this. It's very active. I think, again, the main event will be Thursday, Friday, maybe even into Saturday, and then just kind of that typical afternoon convection with maybe an isolated shower or thunderstorm here and there for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. Well, that's a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast. Before we get into our deeper dive and really start talking more about the fires too, I want to remind you of a free 24-hour streaming channel you have access to anywhere Weather NorCal is available, from the website, weathernorcal.com, the free Weather NorCal app. If you have Fire Stick, Roku, just search for Weather NorCal in that app store. Also, if you have a smart TV and you don't have Roku or Fire Stick, no worries. Most likely your smart TV has the YouTube app. Go into that YouTube app, search for Weather NorCal, subscribe to the Weather NorCal YouTube channel while you're at it, and you can watch the 24-hour streaming channel. And on top of that, what I love about the YouTube channel is that you can watch the latest video forecast on demand. Check it out. Here's a look at your fire weather forecast, sponsored by Garmin's Tractor Service. We're going to start by taking a look at the fires, what the latest information is coming in on those, what the latest satellite activity, and the latest fire perimeters as well. The green fire, we haven't really seen much growth, still at 19,022 acres. 60% containment, and this is as of yesterday evening at 5:25. So again, no major growth there, no major concerns. You can see the Butler fire, we're still seeing that growth. Now it is at 18,431 acres. as of yesterday afternoon, 1:20 p.m., still at 6% containment. Now, this is something I mentioned and talked about yesterday. At the very bottom or south end of the fire, you see that line. That's the fire perimeter there. Yesterday, those were all just red dots, and I had mentioned that that was most likely a firing operation. Clearly, you can see that. Now, in between that line and the main fire, you can see there is some red in there. That's to be expected and nothing to be concerned about. The fire is going to grow to that fire operation. That's basically a fire that they start on purpose to really help reduce the fuels for the fire to burn. So once it gets to that line, in theory, it will stop at that line. So that's kind of the hope right there. But that's essentially where we're seeing most of the activity here is the south end of the fire. But unfortunately, we're also seeing some activity near the Forks of Salmon community itself. There's a look at the latest fire perimeter. We zoom it out here a little bit out here, and you can clearly see where we're seeing that. Now, there's the most recent activity. We're still seeing some that is kind of north of Forks of Salmon and even some activity south of Forks of Salmon as well. Those are those red dots indicating the most recent fire activity that we've seen out of this. There's a closer look at the community of Forks of Salmon. And once again, they are seeing that fire activity still kind of near that area. Meanwhile, we take you out to the west side of the fire. No major concerns here for Orleans or even Soames Bar. The fire really hasn't grown much, if any, if at all, on the west and northwest side of the fire. So it hasn't moved any closer to those communities. All right, let's go and take a look at the red fire. This hasn't changed much either. In fact, the latest report coming in is from July 18th, 9:55 p.m., still at 116 acres and 80% containment. Once they do get new numbers, they do tend to give the report, so that seems to be the latest data. For the Summit Fire, as of July 21st, 6:32 p.m., still at 701 acres and 90% containment at this point. So that's the latest on the fires. Let's take a look at the smoke forecast. And the Butler fire is really the fire that's producing the most amount of smoke. And that's really where most of it will be. It will produce some haze for parts of Siskiyou, Del Norte, and even parts of Humboldt County, even working its way into parts of Modoc and Lassen counties as well. But the main plume of smoke is really going to be within the perimeter of where that main fire is. By the way, you can always check weathernorcal.com for the latest on the fires. Just click on the fire danger section. All right, let's go and take a look at your deeper dive forecast, folks. And we're going to kind of start off with the winds here. And you can see they're going to be pretty typical, where those winds pick up in the afternoon, they die down in the morning. And really that's going to be the trend here for Thursday. Now notice the winds are getting stronger in some of the mountains, and that is picking up on the potential for those thunderstorms. The thunderstorms will produce some gusty winds. Outflow winds from those thunderstorms can be a concern, even if the lightning strikes are far away from the actual fire itself. You can get winds coming from those thunderstorms, and that can impact the fires. So that is a little bit of a concern here. Now, we can see here your fire weather risk here is basically going to stay in the low to moderate range. We're going to be in that low to moderate range going into your Thursday as well. So here's the big picture. This is something I mentioned a little bit earlier, but if you look at the clouds to the south of us, you see a little bit of a spin or counterclockwise spin. That's the area of low pressure in the process of developing and getting stronger. And you can see that a little bit more clearly on the water vapor image. The water vapor imagery is basically just showing where the moisture is. And the rust color is indicating the dry air. You have that little sliver of dry air that's kind of over Northern California, but for the most part, we're seeing some blacks and white colors over Northern California. That will be just enough moisture, and has been, for a few showers and even some thunderstorms to develop over the last few days. Now, there is a fire weather watch that was issued yesterday by the National Weather Service for Thursday. Thunderstorms are going to be a potential, and they could produce some dry lightning in these areas. Now, where we expect the best chances for thunderstorms today, I don't think they're going to quite reach northeastern Shasta, Lassen, or Plumas counties. Most of any activity we see today will once again be Siskiyou and Modoc counties. And even then, it'll be few and far between, and I don't expect it to be a big deal. But should we see thunderstorms, lightning strikes, we could see the potential for dry lightning strikes. Now, as we go into tomorrow, I think it's overdoing it by putting it in the valley, but I think most of the mountains we'll see the potential for thunderstorms on your Thursday. And with that, there could be the potential for dry lightning. Now, you'll notice now it's really over almost all of Northern California, except for the coast. So I do think even the valley, quite possibly on Friday, could see a stray shower or a thunderstorm. That's worth watching. You'll see that here on Futurecast. So the fog is still going to be the main story for the coast. Look at this afternoon. And quite honestly, this forecast model has done a really good job over the last few days, kind of picking up on that potential. And really, since Monday, we have seen some of those afternoon showers and thunderstorms popping up for some of the higher elevations in Siskiyou and Modoc County. They've been few and far between. They haven't amounted to much, but certainly something worth watching. That's going to be the case again today. I don't think it's going to be very widespread, but I think that's going to change for tomorrow. Let's take into tomorrow around midday. Now, we're just beginning around midday to see some of those showers popping up. Lassen, Modoc, Siskiyou counties could all see some of that activity. Look at this. Now it's really starting to flare up. Thursday at 3 p.m., some of these thunderstorms could get severe. And what that means is heavy rainfall, gusty winds, hail, at least a quarter-sized hail, right? And frequent lightning. Now, you can see there is rain associated with this. Now, one of the things that I don't like to really, and I just want to really make clear to you, you're going to hear and read about some forecasters saying, well, you know, some of these thunderstorms will be dry. Well, here's the thing. You look at that, that doesn't look very dry, does it? I still think there will be some heavy rainfall associated with some of these thunderstorms. But one of the things that we have to remember is no matter how heavy the rain is, you can still get lightning strikes outside of the main core of rain. That is several miles away from the actual thunderstorm itself. So where it's not raining and where it's outside of the thunderstorm area, you can still get dry lightning strikes. And a lot of them, keep in mind too. But most of those lightning strikes tend to be within the core of the storm itself. But it's just that one, it's just the 2 or 3 or a dozen that we see outside of that core that can spark those fires. So you can see around the area of low pressure. Remember we were talking about the area of low pressure developing to our south? Well, you can see the flow around that low is helping to really transport those storms to the west. So you can see as we go into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, even Thursday night, it may linger before we see a break. But then by Friday morning, look at this. In the flow of that area of low pressure, there's going to be enough moisture and enough instability, we could see a straight shower. I don't think there'll be any thunderstorms at this point for the valley. And then we go into around midday and you can see it's kind of pushing more to the north and west, but we could still see, we're still going to be looking at more development through the afternoon, especially in the mountains and maybe even the valley. So you can see that here for Friday, 5 p.m., all of the mountains seeing the thunderstorms. We take you into your Saturday. All of the mountains, I think, will see a chance for thunderstorms again. I don't quite think the valley will get caught up in that, but that's worth watching. Now, this particular forecast model is saying, all right, we're done with the thunderstorms. But I still think, based on the European forecast model, that there could be some straight thunderstorms for some of the higher elevations, especially to the north of the valley. That could continue even into early next week. We're looking at Monday, and then most likely even Tuesday as well. So you see that mile there? You see the circle, that white circle around the word mild? That's the area of low pressure. That's got counterclockwise spin, and that's the transport and the direction that the storms will move from southeast, northwest for today and even tomorrow. But that area of low pressure is going to kind of hover here off the coast here for the next couple of days. There's Friday. It's beginning to weaken a little bit on Friday, but still has plenty of instability associated with it, and that's why I still expect to see thunderstorms. On a temperature side, notice the heat. The bigger areas of heat are still to our west and east. But as that mild air begins to moderate and move on out, we're going to start to see the heat from the desert southwest to really build. And you're talking about a heat wave over parts of the western United States. Now, it's not directly over us, but it is going to build and push in our direction. And as a result, our temperatures will at least be closer to normal by the time you get in the early parts and middle part of next week. Still within that cooler than normal category, but now we're getting more in the near normal, which is the gray area. That's near normal, which is what I'm expecting. And that warmer air, as you can see to our east, is going to start to push in our direction and give us warmer temperatures. So the temperatures we're experiencing now and have been experiencing, that will continue through at least the first half of the weekend. But then by next week, now we're talking back around normal. And this is what we've seen so far for the month of July. We've seen anywhere from close to 110 degrees on July 11th to the coolest we saw, which was on Monday with a high of 85. Now it was a little bit warmer, but still below normal. And I think the rest of this week and even into the weekend, we're still going to see a lot of blue colors on the map here, indicating temperatures remaining below normal for the rest of this week. I don't think I hear anybody complaining about that. Take a look at those wave heights. And again, much like what we've seen the last few days, we are not seeing any change there. So no small craft advisories. The main concern if you are going to be out there fishing on a small boat is patchy, dense morning fog. West winds at about 5 knots. Your waves from the north at 1 foot at 4 seconds, and from the northwest at 2 feet at about 9 seconds. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. You can see those temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s to low 90s for Trinity County. Best chances for thunderstorms in Trinity County will be Thursday and Friday. All right, for the North Coast, there you can see, taking a look at the coast, temperatures in the low 60s for your daytime highs. Inland, I have included. Now, this is mainly going to be, say, places like Orleans, Hoopa, Willow Creek. Best chances for maybe a potential for a stray shower, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. But places like Gas Key, probably not. Places like, even Garberville, for example, I think your chances will be a bit slimmer as well. Siskiyou County, there you can see temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, even some low 90s. I think your best chances for thunderstorms in Siskiyou County will be Thursday, Friday, maybe into Saturday. That's the main event. But still, the chances for isolated, few and far between showers and thunderstorms today, and then going into the second half of the weekend and early next week. And that's really the same story for Modoc County as well. Now, the eastern mountains, I don't think you're going to see any shower thunderstorm activity. There may be a stray shower here and there. Main event, though, will be Thursday through the weekend. Still a slight chance lingering into Monday, but by Tuesday, most of it should stay to the north. There's a look at your valley neighborhood forecast to the south. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. You'll notice I've got a few more clouds in there on Friday as we look at that 7-day forecast for Chico. Now, Chico, I have not included you in that chance for rain or thunderstorms. That may change. We'll see. But I think most of it will be to the north of Chico. Taking a look at your forecast of the north, 92 degrees for Redding, 89 though for Red Bluff, and 88 for Lakehead. There's a look at your 7-day forecast for Redding. Looks like we are going to see those temperatures increasing, generally staying upper 80s, low 90s through Sunday. That's the increase in those temperatures Monday, Tuesday. And there's that chance on Friday. You saw that on Futurecast, maybe a stray shower early in the morning on Friday, and maybe even an afternoon shower or thunderstorm Friday afternoon for, say, Red Bluff northward. Otherwise, it should remain fairly dry, temperatures below normal, and getting back up at least closer to normal by early next week. That's your morning update. I'll be back again at noon for your latest forecast. Have a great morning.
Barr & Mudford is a top, established firm here in the North State. Founded over a half-century ago, Barr & Mudford is protecting the rights of our neighbors and community. We take our commitment to our clients very seriously and provide a level of excellence unrivaled in the North State. Barr & Mudford, standing up for the rights of our neighbors and our beautiful community, serving Northern California with excellence.